Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp.com, and I've been with them for a long time. BetterHelp is an online platform where we found that you can effectively communicate with your therapist. Now, you begin by filling out a questionnaire, and then you'll be matched with a therapist within a couple of days. And if that match isn't ideal for you, you can certainly make an adjustment there. Now, you're going to be encouraged to journal, and also they have the availability for group therapy on a wide array of topics, and I really like that. So as the need exists, go ahead and take the necessary steps to get the help that you need. And just know that BetterHelp has a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, so it indeed is a platform you can trust. There's a link below the video that will take you there. Years ago, in my late adolescence and early adult years, I had a very dear mentor who meant the world to me. He's gone now, but he stays in my mind, and I think about him a lot. And he and I would have all sorts of discussions about the human condition. Now, one of the things that he would say to me is, when it comes right down to it, life doesn't have to be that hard. I mean, some of the rules, if you will, or guidelines that would guide us in life just make sense. I mean, treat people the way you want to be treated. Show some self-restraint when things don't go exactly according to your agenda. Be a good listener. Know the value and the strength that comes when you encourage other individuals. And remember, it's not always about you. Now, of course, we would talk about some of those basic principles, and then we would both draw the conclusion, wouldn't it be nice if life could play out that way, but it just doesn't. You see, there are so many complexities that come along, and there's so many troubles that people can have, or just differences or unique experiences that they bring to the equation, that life doesn't play out according to just very easy, baked-in kinds of rules. And we need to learn how to come to terms with that. Now, as a therapist, I learned very early on that one of my primary focuses would be in the counseling office would be the disruptors that we have in life. Now, I'm sure that each one of you, as you look at yourself and the people that you live with, you can say, oh, that word disruptor, that's a good one, because you can have a lot of disruptions. People that have a good-looking veneer, when you start talking with them, you find there are so many experiences they may have had that the average person wouldn't really expect, or they can be embarrassed by certain failures, or they can have a lot of pain that was thrown onto them by other pain-filled individuals. There are different temperament types that we have to learn how to maneuver through, and cultural influences, etc. Life doesn't just line up nice and neat into their simple little grooves. Life can be very sloppy, and life can be ongoing in that sloppiness. It's not as though we can figure it out and say, okay, I've got the answers, let's go. It's an ongoing type of process. Now, when you take a look at the pattern of life that we refer to as narcissism, you'll notice that the key ingredients that identify that pattern make it very difficult for them to manage complexity. They have a high need for control. They have a very low level for empathy. They have to be superior. They don't really care about the needs and feelings of other people because it's just all about me all the time. What is it then that narcissists bring to the equation that make them incapable of managing complexities? Well, first and foremost, we're going to say complexity creates or assumes uncertainty. Narcissists don't like uncertainty. One of the things that they want is they want to have their way, and they want to have their way all the time. You'll notice that they tend to lean towards authoritarian themes, and they want to be the authority. They want to say, here's the way things have to be, and if you're going to hang around with me, I'm going to be very happy to tell you what you're supposed to think, feel, and do. Sometimes there are so many uncertainties or so many oddities in a person's life, it just doesn't fit that way, and they don't know how to deal with question marks. Now, in addition, you can see that complexity then renders simple answers as being insufficient. How many times does the narcissist come to a person saying, well, here's what you need to do, or why can't you just, or I already told you what to do. And they have such a fixed agenda for other individuals that it doesn't even dawn on them to think, this person has a backstory. This person has experiences that I'll never have. Wonder what that's all about. Or this person's struggling or hurting or has some joy that they want to share. They don't know how to enter into another individual's life because of their lack of empathy. In addition, complexity reveals the limits of logic. You'd like to think, well, it seems to me if you have A, B, and C, then X, Y, and Z should be the result. But you understand, people don't respond to life's circumstances in the exact same way. We each differ in the way that we manage things. It can be baffling as a therapist. Sometimes I can talk to a person who's been through some really abusive circumstances, and they come out with a real strong sense of empathy and a good sense of goodness and decency. And it's like, I don't know how you did it, but go get them. Other people can look back and have abusive situations, and they come away with a lot of troubled emotion and a lot of hurt and resentment, etc. And I'm not going to fault them for that. But you have two different people that can have very different responses to seemingly similar circumstances. And logic says, well, who's right and who's wrong? And sometimes it just doesn't boil down to that. People carry emotional tensions that get in the way of logic, and sometimes good people can be held back by unwanted circumstances. There are so many different things that get in the way of fitting everything into logical grooves. And then in addition, we can say that when we face complexity requires the use of curiosity and listening. Now, when you think of a narcissist, is that what comes to mind? They're really good listeners? No, they insist, they tell, they superimpose their opinions as opposed to seeking out the differences and asking how can we grow through this, or how can we get outside of our comfort zone as we get to know one another. So then we take it a little bit further and we can ask, well, exactly what's going on the inside of that narcissist that makes complexity so impossible for them to maneuver through? Well, see, let's keep in mind, when narcissists approach you, just like anybody else, they carry their own unique value system. Okay, fair and good. We all have our value system. Sometimes we have similarities, sometimes we don't. But then we might ask, well, what does a narcissist value? And when you look at these things that they value, it runs against the management of complexity. For example, they value tight control. They want things their way. They value the position of privilege. They want to have status. They value other people's deference. They value keeping up false positive appearances. They value other people's understanding. They don't give it back, but they want you to understand them, which is why they just keep pushing their agenda at you. They value enablers. They value yes people. They value being the winner. They value looking like they're together. That's what's part of their agenda. And instead of them saying, you know what, I know you have your difficulties and strains, so do I. They can't go into that space. When you compare what the narcissist brings to the equation to Team Healthy, you see that there's a great deal of dissonance when it comes to understanding what healthy living is all about. Team Healthy, we value things like introspection. We like to search out the meaning of why. Why do you feel this way, and why did you react that way? Not for data gathering, but so that we can know other individuals better. Team Healthy values understanding and knowing people from their perspective. We value celebrating uniqueness. You know, what is it that drives you that might be different from someone else? I think that can be pretty cool. We value non-binary thinking. Narcissists are so stuck in their black and white, all or nothing thinking. The healthy person says, you know, sometimes things just don't fit quite into those black and white grooves. What's the gray zone look like, and how did we get there, and how are we going to work through it? We value learning from mistakes, learning from misfortunes, and doing so without having to blame other folks like narcissists want to do. Healthy individuals value other people's input. It may not always be flattering, but I'm glad to know what other folks think because it helps me grow. We value mutually rewarding exchanges. Now, ultimately, when you ask that question, why can't narcissists deal with complexity? It comes down to their profound insecurity. It's entrenched. Narcissists can't say the words, "I feel confused," or "I feel stumped." It makes them feel like they're stupid, as opposed to, I just feel confused. That's okay. In their insecurity, they're dreadfully uncomfortable with vulnerability. They don't like your vulnerability other than the fact that they can gather data, and they certainly don't want to be vulnerable themselves. And they can't say the words, "I need help." Actually, when you can say "I need help," there's a certain strength that's there. They've decided that, in addition, one of the things that their insecurity drives them to is they've decided that they can feel secure when they put other people in an inferior position to them. It's poor psychological math. My elevation in life comes at the expense of your devaluation. That's how they think. And then instead of coming to terms with life's sloppiness, they have to have correct looking exteriors. That's all that matters ultimately to them. So as a member here on Team Healthy, I'm hoping you can see that when you're dealing with a narcissist, that person is part of your complexity. And I'm hoping, rather than thinking, well, I wish that I could make them understand and get in the grooves and do what they're supposed to do, which is the narcissist game, I'm hoping you can take the time to understand there's something going on inside of that person that inhibits them from being able to approach life with healthiness. I wonder what that would be, and arm yourself with insight and awareness. It's not excuse making, but it's just having an acknowledgement of what's going on inside of them. And then when it becomes obvious that that person is not going to be able to join you in an authentic, honest way of approaching life, but then let's move on by saying, let them be. And then I want to invest my time with people who do understand that life is not just some sort of simple binary list of rules and regulations. Life consists of variety. It consists of hurts and pains and ups and downs and backs and forwards. I'm going to embrace all of it, and I'm going to learn from it. And I want others, when they're in my presence, to feel like they've been encouraged by being in the presence of someone who says, you get to be you, lumps, bumps, bruises, and all. That's what we do when we love one another. Now, I'm hoping that videos like this can give you some good awareness of what you might be dealing with, and I hope it spurs you to be a better person, a better version of yourself. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. Thank you for letting me be part of your journey. Now, you know that I'm an enormous proponent of psychotherapy. I'm sponsored by the folks at BetterHelp.com. It's an online therapy resource. If you have somebody in your direct area that you could go to face-to-face, that's great. If you would prefer, the online has proved to be a very effective way of managing therapy. We have a link below that if the need is there, you can go through there and answer a few questions, and you get to select a therapist. And I would hope you'd be able to find the combination between you and the therapist so that you can make your way through some of the complexities that are part of your life. Now, as part of my endeavor here, I have an enormous website, and on it I have I have 4 courses, and each one has at least 25 teaching videos, and each video has handouts and guided questions where we dig into some of the whys and wherefores of all of this. We have anger games about managing anger properly with that narcissist. We have This Is Me about establishing proper boundaries, Free to Be, finding yourself despite their control, and then Ready, Set, Connect, how to have healthy connections. I also have links to my webinars. We have hundreds of articles, my books, so lots of resources. Okay, wouldn't it be nice if we could say that life really is rather simple, and it could be, but there are so many complexities that it's just not going to be the case. That being said, I'm hoping you're the kind of person that says, well, I'm a lifelong learner. I'm going to learn about my complexities. I want to know about yours. And as we can, if we can create that mutuality, that's the ideal. I'm hoping you can at least lean in that direction. And then when the narcissist comes along and says, I can't do that, it's like, I understand, be you, but I'm going to link with people who know how to have steadiness and decency, even in the midst of strain and turmoil, figure that one out. And in doing so, I hope you can be a giver and a receiver of true peace.